Hello and shalom and greetings to my brothers and sisters in Messiah Yeshua who have his testimony and guard his commandments. Brother Nick here, and today's the 31st day of the 12th month. It is the 364th day of the Enoch solar calendar, so it's the last day of the calendar year. Tomorrow is the spring equinox. It's the great sign on the earth. It is the day that the sun goes into his tabernacle or into his tent. Today is March 19th, 2022. And this video is being published from the country of Egypt. And the title of this video is Vladimir Putin's name/identity found in Bible prophecy? Question marks with some exclamation points. And also, since Vladimir Putin and the war of Ezekiel 38 and 39 is a very hot topic right now with the invasion into Ukraine, also this video is about how the Ezekiel 32 war happens next. And the Ezekiel 32 war happens before the battle of Ezekiel 38 and 39. So as I said, many people have been speculating on the possibility of Vladimir Putin being this mysterious figure of Gog in the Bible prophecy of Ezekiel chapter 38 and 39. About 6 days ago, if I be correct by the spirit of wisdom and understanding, I deciphered the meaning of Vladimir's name and matched it to the descriptive title of the mysterious end times villain, Gog. In my humble opinion, the match might not be coincidental, but more than likely is a possible identification of Gog prior to the beginning of the tribulation. And no, Vladimir Putin's name does not equal 666. That dishonor belongs to Vladimir's good friend Bashar al-Assad. And in this video I did over 3 years ago, I counted Bashar's name to equal 666. And as you can see, here are people that are bow downing and worshiping his image here as they bow down and pray to it. Remember, there are two beasts. The second beast causes the world to worship the first beast. So, and also remember, besides the two beasts, the beast and the false besides the two people, the beast and the false prophet, there's also a third, a dragon, and they all three have unclean spirits. And the reason why these people are worshiping Bashar al-Assad is because they are of the Alawite Sect of Shia Islam. And the Alawites is the sect that is predominantly in Syria. It's about less than 3 million. There's about 500,000 to 1 million in Turkey, 100,000 in Lebanon, 70,000 now in Germany because small other areas here. And what's interesting about the Alawites is the Alawites is like a hybrid religion of Shia Islam tied in with an emphasis on Christianity. Here on the Wikipedia page, it talks about some of the theology and practices of Alawite Islam. And Alawite doctrine incorporates Islamic, Gnostic, Neoplatonic, Christian. For example, they celebrate the Christian Mass, including the consecration of the bread and wine and other elements, and has therefore been described as syncretic. So this literally is Chrislam right here. The Alawite religion is literally Chrislam. According to an article that appeared in the Telegraph in the 1995 edition of the Oxford Encyclopedia of Modern Islamic World, allegedly describes them as extremist Shia whose religious system separates them from Sunni Muslims. So even though they take the bread and the wine, they are part of Shia Islam. And then other beliefs, Christian beliefs here, other beliefs and practices include the consecration of the bread in a secret form of Mass, of the Christian Mass, performed only by males. So we see the Mass in Orthodox Christianity, we see the Mass in a lot of, in Catholicism, frequently being given Christian names, so in the Alawite sect, and then entombing the dead in sarcophagi above the ground, observing. Epiphany Day is a holiday of the Orthodox Christian religion. The Alawites also celebrate Christmas, which is another Orthodox Christian holiday, so they celebrate two Orthodox Christian holidays, and they also celebrate the feast days of John Chrysostom and Mary Magdalene, which possibly are other Orthodox Christian holidays. So that's why I'm saying the Alawite sect is like a Chrislam, and it's going to be easy to unite Eastern Orthodox Christianity after the West is all wiped out with Islam. That is something to consider regarding the Alawite religion. The Alawites also believe in reincarnation. The Alawites hold that they were originally stars of divine lights that were cast out of heaven through disobedience and must undergo repeated reincarnation or metaphysicosis before returning to heaven. They can be reincarnated as Christians or others through sin and as animals if they become infidels. And that they believe that God might have incarnated twice. The first incarnation was Joshua, son of Nun, who conquered Canaan. And the second was the fourth Caliph, Ali. So this is the beliefs of the Alawites, and this is why they're worshiping. You see worshipers of the image right here of Bashar. And as I said, over 3 years ago, I did one simple move that made his name equal 666 in the Hebrew Gematria. So now, before I present you the breakdown of the name meaning of Vladimir and match it to the description of Gog of Ezekiel chapter 38 and 39, I first need to make you aware of some major errors and fallacies the Christian end times community believes and that I have corrected over the last 6 months on my YouTube channel. And that is that the war of Ezekiel 32 happens before Ezekiel 38 and 39. So the war of Ezekiel 32 happens before Ezekiel 38 and 39. And right now, with everything going on in Ukraine, everyone is talking about the possibility of Ezekiel 38 and 39. But what people don't understand is that their understanding is false, as the war of Ezekiel 32 happens first, and I will explain. And in that war, the land of the living, the Holy Land, which is from the river Euphrates in the north, all the way along the Mediterranean coast, down to Wadi al-Aish, which is the river of Egypt, just south of Gaza, that whole area is going to get the coming sword. And there's going to be a big war there. And in Ezekiel 38, Yahweh Elohim comes and rescues Israel. But in the Ezekiel 32 war, the inhabitants of the wastelands of Israel, those that are in the land of the living, there is going to be terror there, and the Yahweh's sword is going to come through. So Christians do not understand the correct chronology of Bible prophecy. Everybody's looking to Ezekiel 38 and 39, but the war and terror in the land of the sword and the terror in the land of the living happens first, and that is the sword of Ezekiel chapter 32 and Ezekiel chapter 21. So why do I say that the Ezekiel 32 happens first? Is because, and it happens before the battle of Ezekiel 38 and 39, it's because in Ezekiel chapter 38 verse 8, right here, this is the King James Version, and this is the Britain Septuagint translation from the Greek Septuagint, we read that Gog is going to come back on a land that is brought back from the sword. So now, and this is saying a land that was entirely desolate. So let me go ahead and read this in the King James, okay, which is using the Masoretic text. After many days thou shalt be visited, in the latter years thou shalt come into the land that is brought back from the sword, and is gathered out of many people, against the mountains of Israel, which have been always waste. But it is brought forth out of the nations, and they shall dwell safely, all of them. So a lot of people right now say, oh, look, the modern Jewish state of Israel is brought out of many nations. And as I've shared with you, that is not the true, those are not the true Israelites. They are falsely claiming. Some of them are Israelites, male Israelites by blood, but a small percentage. I guess 10%. But a majority of them is not, and they're falsely claiming the Abrahamic covenant. They were not brought back in miraculously. They were not brought back in according to the scriptures. But these people were gathered out of a land and brought back in, and they're being brought back in for judgment for falsely claiming the Abrahamic covenant and claiming to be the Israelites. Because when you read it in the Masoretic text, it looks like the modern Jewish state is the fulfillment of this prophecy because of all of the Zionist Christian propaganda of false end times interpretations. But the truth of the matter is that when you see it in the Britain Septuagint, speaking of Gog, and he shall be prepared after many days, and he shall come at the end of years, and shall come to a land that is brought back from the sword. Okay, so it's important to know that the land's brought back from the sword, and I'm about to show you in Ezekiel 32 where that sword is. When the people are gathered from many nations against the land of Israel, which was entirely desolate. And he is come forth out of the nations, and they shall all dwell securely. So, what's going to happen here is we need to find the sword that is going to desolate the whole land. And that sword is found in Ezekiel chapter 32. And remember, after this war, or simultaneously, right about this wartime, the woman's flight into the wilderness, where she's giving 2 wings of an eagle, which is probably the greater Exodus, that miraculous event, or this event of the woman's flight to the wilderness, she escapes, and her flight is to the wilderness for 1,260 days. That woman is going to be on the mountains of Israel. And that is the people that is gathered out of many nations. How everything's going to play out is going to go Ezekiel chapter 32, then the flight into the wilderness, which starts the 1,260 days of the woman into the wilderness on the mountains of Israel, where she's safe after those 1,260 days, is when the battle of Ezekiel 38 and 39, Gog and Magog. And the reason why I'm saying it is because, one, again, the land is brought back from the sword, but also Gog is going to return a second time. He's going to turn back, as we'll read here in Ezekiel chapter 38, verse 4. In Ezekiel chapter 38, verse 4, we read that Gog, who is the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, is going to be, quote, turned back. And to be turned back to a place means that they left that place a first time, and now they're being turned back to that place. So you cannot be turned back to a place unless you had already been there first and you left it. And we see Meshech and Tubal in the Ezekiel 32 war. So again, and I will turn thee back and put hooks in thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth, and all thine enemy and horsemen, and all them clothed with swords of armor. And it talks about the peoples here. Be thou prepared, and prepare thyself, and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. So right now we see Russia guarding all of these countries right here. After many days thou shalt be visited, in the latter years thou shalt come into the land that is brought back from the sword, and is gathered out of many people, against the mountains of Israel. Right? That's where the woman escaped to for the 1,260 days, which have been always waste, but is brought forth out of the nations. They shall all dwell safely, all of them. Now remember the woman, she's supernaturally protected for those 1,260 days while she's in the wilderness, and those wilderness is probably the mountains of Israel. Okay, so now that I explained that, here, as I said, Gog is the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and we see Meshech and Tubal and all her multitude in Ezekiel chapter 32. So we see Gog of the land of Magog, chief prince of Meshech and Tubal in Ezekiel 38, and we also see Meshech and Tubal here in Ezekiel chapter 32. And here is the segment of this prophecy of Ezekiel chapter 32 regarding Meshech and Tubal. Verse 26, there is Meshech, Tubal, and all her multitude. Her graves are round about him, Gog, all of them circumcised, slain by the sword, though they caused their terror in the land of the living. So this group of people is going to cause terror in the land of the living. And they shall not lie with the mighty that are fallen of the uncircumcised, which are gone down to hell with their weapons of war. And they have laid their swords under their heads, but their iniquities shall be upon their bones, though they were the terror of the mighty in the land of the living. So Meshech and Tubal, it appears that they are the terror of the mighty in the land of the living. They have these special weapons of war. We know Russia has really high electronic warfare systems and missile capabilities, which are their swords. They're going to lay their swords under their heads. And yea, thou shalt be broken in the midst of the uncircumcised, and shall lie with them that are slain with the sword. So it looks like, again, Meshech and Tubal is part of this earlier battle. So Meshech and Tubal is going to be part of this battle, but then after this battle, they're going to be turned back from the mountains of Israel, possibly. and then they're going to be drawn back, because remember, as I explained in Ezekiel chapter 38 verse 4, Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, he is turned back. That means he left this location and he now came back. So this Ezekiel chapter 32 war is the sword and terror in the land of the living. And that we saw Ezekiel, the sword, in Ezekiel chapter 38, verse 8. It's the land that is brought back from the sword. So where is the sword? And that sword is right here. Look at all the times it says sword. Sword, 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 sword. This passage of Ezekiel 32, of this war, that has never, from my understanding, has never been happened or been fulfilled. This is unfulfilled prophecy of Ezekiel chapter 32, 17 through 32. This war has yet to ever happen, and Christians haven't, and Bible scholars have not identified this. This is not the prominent teaching. Okay, there's a false narrative that Ezekiel 38 and 39 is going to happen, but no, with the Jewish state. But that's only going to happen with the real Israelites. The Jewish state is going to be, a wide majority of them are going to be wiped out in this war, it appears. And this swords are going to come and going to cause terror in the land of the living. You need to watch my video about this where I explain this war. But we see Elam, which is Iran. We see Meshech and Tubal, like Russia. We see Edom, who are more than likely possibly some of the Russians or Edomites, but also we see the Jewish Edomites as well that are in the land of the living. We see Egypt and Pharaoh, and then we see the princes of the north, which also are the Zidonians, and the princes of the north and the Zidonians, that's like Hezbollah. And then we see Ashur, which are the Assyrians. So we see the same group of people now that are now all confederated around the Jewish state. So you need to watch this video regarding Ezekiel and the sword 32 and the sword and terror of Ezekiel chapter 32. And so where is the land of the living? This is one map of the land of the living. The land of the living is where the real Israelites are going to get their inheritance for the millennial reign per Ezekiel chapter 47 and 48. This is a map of a tribal allotment per a YouTube channel called Third Temple. I took a copy of it and then I pasted this together with that, but it looks like that will only end right here in Elat. Now, with that said, let me go ahead and share you this map. This is an outline of the land of the living as well. And you see Zaphon, which is Baal Zaphon, the mountain of Zaphon. And Zaphon is the Hebrew word that is translated always for north, and it's the mountain here in the north. And then you have the Negev, desert down here in the south, and Negev is the Hebrew word that is translated into the English and is used for the location of south. So you have Zaphon north and you have the Negev south, and all through here is what is called the land of the living, because in this region is where the Israelites are going to get their tribal allotments for the millennial reign here on earth. I put a community post about this out a couple of days ago. Check my community post. Okay, but this is when Yahweh is going to brandish his sword in this war of Ezekiel 32. He's going to take the righteous and the wicked in this sword, in this war. And the righteous and the wicked are, that means that there's going to be righteous and wicked people living in this area that are going to die when the sword comes out. So this is the judgment where the righteous and the wicked are going to be taken together. And we know that because we also find the sword in Ezekiel chapter 21. Seeing then that I will cut off from thee the righteous and the wicked, therefore shall my sword go forth out of his sheath against all flesh, from the south to the north. And that word for south is Negev, to the north, which is Zaphon. That all flesh may know that I am Yahweh, and drawn forth my sword out of his sheath, and it shall not return any more. Okay, so you have to read Ezekiel chapter 21 to really understand. But again, from the south, Negev, to the north, Zaphon. So in this area is where the next war is going to happen, and it's going to catch a lot of people off guard, and World War III might unfold right after or just after this. So go back and watch these two videos. This video is from like 6 months ago or 7 months ago when I did a prophecy update on the book of Ezekiel, where I audited Ezekiel's prophecies. You need to watch this video right here. And then you need to watch this video right here where I explain this Ezekiel 32 battle. Again, so now that we understand that the Ezekiel 32 war happens first and that Gog is turned back. He's turned back from a place that he's been. Why? Why is he turned back? Is because right now, here in Syria, in Laodicea, Syria, Russia has a naval base. They also have an air base here. They have another air base here. Russia has troops all in Syria, in the land of the living. So when Yahweh brandishes his sword, okay, this whole area is going to be wiped out, but then it looks like they're going to come back for the Ezekiel 38 and 39 battle at the end of the 42-month tribulation. It's important that we understand that Gog is the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and he's going to be turned back. So now that I've explained that, now I will identify Vladimir Putin's name as and link it to the identity of Gog in Ezekiel chapter 38 and 39. Okay? As I've said, many people have speculated that the land of Magog to be in the land of Russia. And if so, then they speculate that Gog is the leader of Russia. And recently, about a week ago, after I reread Ezekiel chapter 38 verse 17, and Ezekiel 38:17 is speaking of Gog, and it says, "Thus saith Yahweh Elohim, art thou he, Gog, of whom I have spoken in old time by my servants, the prophets of Israel, which prophesied in those days many years that I would bring thee against them?" So we see that Gog is going to be brought against the real Israelites, and we need to hopefully can identify Gog. So after reading this, I thought that if this person was prophesied a very long time ago, I also thought and figured that this person who would carry or could carry a name that would have clues or that we could decipher and link and I related to and identify with this person of Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal. So and the reason why I figured that we would be able to do this is I made this assumption based on the fact that almost all characters in the Bible have names that have meanings that apply to their position or descriptive of their person and or how they're related to their storyline, especially for key Bible characters. So if Vladimir is this person Gog, it would be fair to assume that the meaning of his name can be related to Gog. So I looked up the meaning of Vladimir, and here's a screenshot of many results I came across. One result has the meaning of Vladimir as the renowned prince. Another result has the meaning of Vladimir as prince or high ruler. Another result has the meaning of Vladimir as great ruler. And then another result that has the meaning of Vladimir as rule combined with Meru of great and famous, so great ruler. So we see renowned prince, prince or high ruler, or a great ruler for the meaning of Vladimir. This is some of the results. And what's important to know is that renowned prince or high ruler or great ruler are all synonymous with chief prince. And chief prince is the title used to describe Gog in Ezekiel chapter 38. Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against him, and say, Thus saith Yahweh Elohim, Behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and put hooks in thy jaws. So we see Gog is the chief prince. The chief prince. And here is the Hebrew for chief prince. Rosh Nasir, which is from Nasir probably, which means captain. So the head chief, or the head prince, or the head captain, or the head leader. And the head leader is a great leader, or a renowned prince, or a high ruler. So Rosh Nasir, or chief prince, great prince, renowned leader, that is synonymous. So we see, and not only do we see Gog being the chief prince, this description of Gog being the chief prince is used twice. Chief prince and chief prince. And what's more interesting when I started to look at his name, also we see in Vladimir Putin's name, Vladimir is also used twice. As his name is Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin. So we see Vladimir twice. And Vladimirovich means Vladimir's son. And another meaning of Vladimir is ruler of the world. So not only is he a great leader, but it's also the ruler of the world. This is another meaning of the name Vladimir. So Vladimirovich means son of the ruler of the world. And that got me thinking about the ruler of this world. And we know from Scripture that the ruler of this world is Satan. In John 14, verse 30, Messiah Yeshua said, "For the ruler of this world is coming, and he has nothing in me." In John 12, 31 through 33, he says, "Now is the judgment of this world. Now the ruler of this world will be cast out." More Bible verses. John 16:11, of judgment, because the ruler of this world is judged. And then in Revelation chapter 12:12, which is a very important chapter for all of us prophetic watching Christians of the Revelation 12 sign, "Therefore rejoice, O heavens, and you who dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and the sea, for the devil has come down to you, having great wrath, because he knows that he has a short time." And then in Luke chapter 4, verse 5 through 6, "Then the devil, taking him on a high mountain, showed him all the kingdoms of the world in a moment of time. And the devil said to Yeshua, 'All this authority I will give you, and their glory, for this has been delivered to me, and I give it to whomever I wish.'" So my question is the authority of all the kingdoms of this world, which we know in the future are the 10 kings, they're going to be giving, this last person is going to be given a kingdom of 10 kings, is it going to be given to Vladimirovich, the son of the ruler of this world, who is Satan? Satan's son? That's the question. Another meaning of Vladimir, I found, also has a similar meaning to the Prince of Peace. And that's just interesting that this person would have a messianic title, though he practices idolatry, pagan idolatry of Orthodox Christianity, which is the same pagan idolatry of Catholic Christianity. And just yesterday, Vladimir Putin spoke to over 200,000 people. And Vladimir Putin is very religious from that picture that you just saw, or he gives an appearance of very religious, but Messiah Yeshua said that the ruler of this world has no part in him. We also saw that in this rally, Vladimir Putin, he even quoted Messiah Yeshua in the Bible to justify sending his troops into the battle of the Ukraine to die for the country of Russia, which is an evil thing to do, to twist Scripture to try to justify yourself in the sight of all of these people who the Orthodox Christians will gladly accept a ruler of the world from Orthodox Christianity. So let me play that clip for you here.
To liberate people from this suffering, from the genocide, is the main inspiring motive of the military operation we started in Donbass and in Ukraine. This is the objective. This is the aim. And you know, I remember these words from the Bible. There is no other love rather than if someone gives soul for their friends. words from the scriptures.
И мы видим, как героически
And
действуют
we
и
are seeing
воюют наши
the
ребята в
heroic
ходе этой операции.
deeds of our guys in this operation.
And now that I played that clip, I want to get into the meaning of Vladimir Putin's last name. And Vladimir Putin means of the way. As you can see, these are several results that I got. Putin means someone belonging to the way. Now, Yeshua was called the way. He said, I'm the way, the truth, and the life. And his way is the 10 Commandments, which is the narrow path, okay? Putin's of a road as well. But that road might be the road to destruction of Orthodox idolatry and the mystery religion of Christianity, and also of World War III, of unleashing his nuclear arsenal of World War III, and also terror in the land of the living, possibly. Another result of Putin, for the meaning of Putin, this person says Put, which translates way or path, and then the in part of his name means belonging to. So when you put it together, Putin means follower of the way. So he's going to be like a type of Christianity, but denies possibly the power thereof, and worships the god of forces, his nuclear arsenal. And then this person best transcribes Putin as means someone belonging to the way or the road. Here's another possibility for a way to interpret Vladimir Putin's full name. Vladimir, chief prince. Vladimirovich, son of the ruler of the world, which we know is Satan. Putin, of the way. And his way is the way of idolatry and the mystery religion and the god of forces. But remember, he looks like a lamb, but he speaks like a dragon, possibly, if it's pertaining to this person. We won't really know all of these things until we look back. This is all speculation. But this is not the way. Idolatry and mystery religion of Orthodox Christianity, idolatry and mystery religion of Western Catholicism is not the way. That is idolatry and the false way. That is the way, the counterfeit way of Satan, the ruler of this world. Now that I provided an interpretation of Vladimir Putin's name, possibly a prophetic interpretation of the meaning of Vladimir Putin's name, I now also want to point out that Vladimir Putin's palace, right here, his Black Sea palace, right here, is in the land of Meshech and Tubal. So the chief prince, possibly Vladimir Putin, who is God, he put his palace in the land, right here, his billion-dollar palace on the Black Sea is put in the land of Meshech and Tubal. Tubasili, here in Tubasili, Georgia, is this Meshech and Tubal. Meshech might be here in Armenia, but this area right here, this whole region right here might be Meshech and Tubal. So he would be the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal. His palace is right here. He's the ruler of this area. And what's interesting is Orthodox Christianity, if you ever go into Jerusalem, the Orthodox religion of Christianity has really deep ties in Jerusalem. You have the Greek Orthodox Church. You have the Russian Orthodox Church. You have the Ethiopian Orthodox Church. You have the Egyptian Coptic Orthodox Church. You have like the Syrian Orthodox Church. You have all of these Orthodox religion. It's really deep in Jerusalem. So Vladimir has religious interests in Jerusalem. And Vladimir Putin being about 69 years old, right now it's all about his legacy. He's built all of his wealth. He's done great things, which is building back Russia to being a superpower and having these superpower weapons where he can call fire down from the sky of these nuclear weapons, this nuclear fire down from the sky. But he's now thinking about his legacy. And legacy, when you look back at all of the kings and all of that, of the Crusaders and the kings that captured Jerusalem, being from an Orthodox background, just me doing some analysis, a bigger interest is your legacy that you're going to leave on the world and conquering the world for Orthodox Christianity and conquering Jerusalem and the Holy Land. That is something that would be high on the list of a person of Vladimir's position right now in the world. Okay? So here is a video of the Washington Post about why Vladimir Putin is deeply connected in Jerusalem. Maybe you can watch it. Maybe I won't put that in here. But that's something to consider. He has religious interests that are based on his legacy and his spiritual belief system that could be a primary mover for him to act upon here at the end of days. And it's important to note, a lot of people don't know that Moscow is regarded as the third Rome. People talked about the reunited Roman Empire. And if you do a Google search, you can see that Moscow is called a third Rome. Here is the Wikipedia page. And there is a theological and political concept asserting that Moscow is the successor of the Roman Empire, representing a third Rome in succession to the first Rome and the capital of ancient Rome, and the second Rome, which was Constantinople, which became modern-day Istanbul, Turkey, of the Eastern Roman Empire. And here we see the coat of arms of the Russian Empire. So here is the first Rome. The first Rome moved to the second Rome here in Constantinople, named after Constantine, who formalized Christianity. And then the third Rome was moved possibly up to Moscow. That's how a lot of people understand it. That's why you see Rome, Romania, Rome right here as it went north. So you have the Romans coming here. Central power was moved from Rome to Constantinople by Constantine, and then later moved up to Moscow. And regarding the third Rome, this is the theological justification because of the Eastern Orthodox Church. Here is the social policy because of the Eastern Slavic territories historically being tied to the Eastern Orthodox faith and the Slavic culture. And then you see the state doctrine. And this is really interesting regarding the state doctrine concept of the Third Rome. Yes, it's coming from an unreliable source, but this is, at least this information is floated out there. State doctrine, according to which the Moscow prince, whoa, what? The Moscow prince? You mean the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, Gog of Magog, the chief prince of Moscow, of Magog, should act as a supreme ruler, sovereign, and legislator of Christian Eastern Orthodox nations and become a defender of the Christian Eastern Orthodox Church. So if this is real, that's what's going through Vladimir Putin's mind, that he's the defender of the Eastern Orthodox religion. So we see this is why he doesn't succumb to Pope Francis in the West, and that this World War III could be Catholicism, the West, right? France, okay, the USA, versus the East, Eastern Orthodoxy, or better yet, the Western true Israelites of the West versus the Edomites of the Roman Edomites that went up into the Russian areas, possibly. So this person, the Moscow prince, or the Moscow chief prince, is the defender. He's the supreme ruler of all the Eastern Orthodox nations. And again, like I said, Eastern Orthodoxy Christianity is all over. It's in Africa, it's in the Middle East, and it's in the Baltic states, it's in Eastern Europe, and in Russia. And so he's going to be the defender of this, and herewith the church should facilitate the sovereign in the execution of his function, supposedly determined by God, the autocratic administration. So that's why we're going to see three people. We see the beast, the false prophet, and the dragon. The beast, the false prophet, and the dragon. So the beast, that's El-Wahash in the Arabic, that could be Bashar. The false prophet, maybe it is the ruler of Russian Orthodox Church. Maybe it's their ruler of that. Maybe it's the religious ruler of the Russian Orthodox Church. And maybe the dragon is the son of Satan, the son of the dragon, possibly, who I explained in this video. We won't know looking back. And interesting to note that 5 Russian rulers have become Orthodox saints. So, in the mind of Vladimir, spiritually speaking, this is something that would matter to him because of his Orthodox religion and how he wants to leave his legacy here on earth. So my question is, after this World War III, where will the capital right here be moved to? If this is the first Rome, and this is the second Rome, and this is the third Rome, where will this next Rome be? Will it move back to Istanbul? Will it move to Ankara, Turkey? Will it move to the palace here in Georgia, and then he's brought back, and he brings this whole confederacy of Turkey and all of this area, plus Elam and everybody to the east, and the kings of the east are going to come over the Euphrates River at the end for the final battle of Ezekiel 38 and 39. Is that what's going to happen? Is that going to be moved? I don't know. This is just speculation. But here you see it again. This is an unholy alliance right here of a man whose name equals 666, and then Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin, who is the chief prince, son of the ruler of this world, of the way. And again, they have ties together because of Bashar. The Alawite sect accepts Christianity. There is a high amount of Christians, of Orthodox Christians in Lebanon and in Syria, and they do the Mass, and Putin does the mystery Mass, and the Alawites also do the mystery Mass. So they have a Chrislam. This is true Chrislam, but true Chrislam can be unified at the end in this last 42 months. True Chrislam can be unified if they take Jerusalem, if this terror in the land of the living happens, and that happens, I don't know, but it appears that that is a possibility, that they're going to have their way with the Jewish state, and then there's going to be a vacuum, which is going to be the escape, possibly, of the woman's flight into the wilderness, who are going to be the true Israelites, and the true Israelites are really true genetically Israelites that are going to escape. And you're going to see possibly them come to power and unify the whole world of this unified mystery religion of Alawite Muslims with the Orthodox Christianity, because Orthodox Christianity, again, is prevalent in Syria, in Turkey, in Greece, in Cyprus, in Lebanon, in Syria. And so that is something to consider. So that's it for now. That's a lot of information. Hopefully you can disseminate yourself. And I'm signing off, and shalom to all my brothers and sisters who have the testimony of Messiah Yeshua and guard his commandments. Shalom to you.